Models are showing a pattern change, and it is significant. Let me show you what is developing across the eastern United States over the next 2 weeks. We're re-looking at multiple snow events, sustained cold, and potentially some of the lowest temperatures we've seen in several years. The current setup has a ridge along the west coast and a trough digging into the east. That configuration allows Arctic air to spill southward from Canada without much resistance. When you see this pattern in January, you know winter is about to get serious. A cold front pushed through the eastern states last night. That was the first wave. Temperatures dropped overnight. Wind increased substantially. If you are east of the Mississippi, you felt that change this morning. Starting Wednesday the 14th, the pattern intensifies. Southern stream moisture begins interacting with northern stream energy. Meteorologists speak for snowmaking conditions. The European model shows this clearly. Moisture from the Gulf region moving northward, cold air pressing southward, and they meet somewhere over the Ohio Valley and mid-Atlantic. Thursday the 15th brings widespread snowfall. I am talking Ohio Valley, interior mid-Atlantic, northeast. This isn't a quick-moving clipper. The low-pressure system is broad and slow. That means hours of steady snowfall rather than a brief burst. How much snow? The models suggest moderate to occasionally heavy rates. Accumulations build over time. Areas from the Great Lakes through New England could see significant totals. The exact numbers will depend on the storm track, which we'll nail down as we get closer. Massachusetts and coastal New England see the heaviest impact as the low-pressure center tracks nearby. Then it moves offshore and exits. But the cold air stays. About that cold air, this is where it gets interesting. The temperature departures on the model guidance are substantial. We're not talking a few degrees below normal. We're talking 10, 15, even 25 degrees below normal for extended periods. The first push of Arctic air arrives around the 14th and 15th. Temperatures drop into the single digits and teens across the northern tier, below zero for the upper Midwest. That is cold, but it's not record-breaking for mid-January. Around the 20th, a second stronger push of Arctic air potentially arrives. This one is more intense. The models show temperature departures of 25 degrees or more below average across large areas. If this verifies, we're re-looking at sub-zero temperatures extending well south of the Canadian border. The European Model S final frame shows 7 a.m. temperatures at -10 to -20 Fahrenheit for much of the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and northern mid-Atlantic. Parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan could see -30 to -40. Now, before we go further, let's talk about forecast reliability. This extreme cold scenario is showing up on a 15-day forecast. That's the very edge of useful model guidance. Long-range temperature forecasts have considerable uncertainty. The models are telling us the pattern favors very cold conditions. The exact magnitude could change. Think of it this way. High confidence in below normal temperatures, medium confidence in well below normal temperatures, lower confidence in the specific extreme values shown at day 15. I am showing you this because the signal is strong enough to warrant attention. Not because I am certain about -40 in Minnesota 2 weeks from now. The GFS model takes a more aggressive approach with snowfall. It shows a significant coastal storm around the 18th. This would bring heavy snow from the Carolinas northward to Maine. The jet stream orientation on the GFS is more favorable for a major East Coast event. The European model has been inconsistent with this particular system. Some runs show it, some don't. That inconsistency tells you something. The pattern supports storm development, but the details haven't locked in yet. Here's my assessment. Something is likely to happen around the 18th. Whether it's a major coastal storm or a lesser event, we'll know better in a few days. The atmospheric setup favors activity. The specifics remain uncertain. Between the 15th and the end of January, both models show a foot or more of accumulated snowfall across portions of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Some areas could see considerably more depending on storm tracks and lake effect enhancement. Lake effect snow deserves mention. When Arctic air this cold moves over the Great Lakes, you get significant enhancement. Narrow bands of very heavy snow downwind of each lake. If you live in the traditional lake effect belts, you know what this means. Multiple feet of snow possible in localized areas. The southwest and south-central states stay dry throughout this period. High pressure dominates. No meaningful precipitation expected there. Let us talk about what causes this pattern. The stratospheric polar vortex appears to be disrupting. When the polar vortex weakens or splits, it allows Arctic air to break off and move southward into the mid-latitudes. This isn't a rare event, but it doesn't happen every year either. You've seen this before. Last winter had polar vortex disruption. The winter of 2013 to 2014 was a classic example. Extended periods of well below normal temperatures across much of the United States. Some of you remember that winter very clearly. The difference between a brief cold snap and a prolonged Arctic outbreak matters. A few days of sub-zero temperatures is one thing, 2 weeks is another. Extended cold stresses infrastructure, increases energy demand, and creates compounding problems. The jet stream configuration is meridional. That means it's wavy, oriented north-south, rather than straight west to east. This allows cold air to plunge southward more easily. The blocking ridge over the western United States prevents Pacific air from moderating our temperatures. We re-cut off from the warmer air source. Now, what do you need to do with this information? First, heating systems. If you haven't serviced your furnace or boiler, do it now. Don't wait until it's -10 outside and something breaks. Check your fuel levels if you use oil or propane. Order more if you are below half. Delivery trucks get backed up when everyone calls at once. Insulation and weatherization matter. Check windows and doors for drafts. A few dollars spent on weather stripping saves considerably on heating costs. If you have any plumbing in exterior walls or unheated spaces, insulate it now. Frozen pipes are expensive and disruptive. During extreme cold, let faucets drip slightly. Moving water doesn't freeze as easily. Open cabinet doors under sinks to allow warmer air to circulate around pipes. Elderly family members and neighbors need checking on. Hypothermia can develop indoors if heating is inadequate. Make sure they rewarm, have food, and have necessary medications. Phone lines can go down in severe weather. Personal contact matters. If you have animals, provide adequate shelter. Barns need to be tight. Water sources need to stay unfrozen. This kind of cold is hard on livestock. Outdoor pets need to come inside or have well-insulated, draft-free shelter. Vehicle preparation is important. Batteries fail in extreme cold. If yours is more than 3 or 4 years old, consider replacing it before you restrand it. Keep your gas tank at least half full. The fuel helps keep the fuel lines from freezing, and if you restock, you can run the engine periodically for heat. Carry emergency supplies, blankets, flashlight, first aid kit, some non-perishable food, water. If you slide off the road in a rural area during a snowstorm, you might wait hours for help. You need to stay warm. Snow removal equipment needs to be ready. Snow blowers should be serviced, shovels should be accessible, ice melt or sand should be on hand. Once the snow starts, hardware stores sell out quickly. Road conditions will deteriorate during snow events. Slow down, increase following distance, give plows room to work. If you don't need to travel, stay home. No appointment is worth your life. For those with respiratory or cardiovascular conditions, extreme cold is a health risk. Cold air can trigger asthma attacks. Shoveling snow in sub-zero temperatures stresses your heart. Know your limits. Ask for help when needed. The snowstorms themselves require judgment. The 15th system is 4 to 5 days out. Forecasts at that range are reasonably reliable. You can make plans based on that. The 18th is a week out. Keep an eye on it, but don't make irreversible decisions yet. The extreme cold at the end of the month is 2 weeks out. Use that information to prepare generally. Don't use it to make specific plans. The pattern will become clearer as we move through the month. I'll continue monitoring the models and updating you. New model runs come in every 6 hours. The forecast evolves. What looks certain today might change tomorrow. What looks uncertain today might lock in by next week. The overall message is clear. Winter is coming to the eastern United States, not the mild pattern we've had recently. Real winter, Arctic air, snow, conditions that demand preparation and respect. You've lived through winters before. You know what to do. Do it now rather than waiting until the storm is 12 hours away. This pattern has been building in the model guidance for several days. It's not a sudden surprise. The confidence is increasing. The timing is coming into focus. Take it seriously. I'll be here daily with updates as this develops. Subscribe if you want regular analysis. I'll break down what's changing, what's staying consistent, and what it means for your specific area. Stay prepared.